and gentlemen, how are we doing today? Today's November 13th. It's 7:02 p.m. It is free refill episode number 20. Those are all facts. Those are all facts of life. We've got some big news in the NBA world with Nico Harrison finally being fired. We've got Week 11 coming up. Did you know, little fun fact about Week 11, did you know that Week number 11 of this year has, this week, 9 of the 15 matchups are division rivals? It's rivalry week in the NFL. Rivalry week! How can you not be excited for that? Come on! Come on! How amazing is that? 18 of the teams that are playing, they're playing against a team within their own division. Nothing more exciting. Nothing more exciting to me. There's going to be some big ones tonight. It's Patriots-Jets kicking off one of the first of those 9 rivalry matchups. So that should be exciting. That kicks off in an hour and 12 minutes as of when I am speaking. My apologies for not being able to make Primetime with Taff and Phil. It was Primetime with Taff and Gabe yesterday. They did a phenomenal job, so hats off to them. Can we get a little... Excellent work, gentlemen, by the both of you. Very impressed. Loved what I saw. Unfortunately, Jokic kind of got you on the whole, But we'll get there. I'll discuss it with Daph this weekend. We'll have a lot to discuss about what went on with Mr. Jokic kind of dunked all over you. You should have called him the MVP. He heard you guys, and he answered. But regardless, it is week number 11. The season continues to slug on. We are getting into some of the bigger heavyweight matchups, some of the most important matchups of the year. I'm going to be doing my little small preview here right before Thursday Night Football, giving you my little small takes. But before I get into that, I have to say, Dallas Mavericks fans who are maybe out there listening, congratulations. It's over. You don't have to deal with the crazy, weird, somehow hired because he was a big part of Nike, Nico Harrison. It's finally over. While the damage has been done, at the end of the day, Nico is now out. As Mavs GM, there are hopefully brighter days. Because honestly, I don't know how much worse it can be right now knowing that Luka Doncic is not currently playing for the Dallas Mavericks and on the LA Lakers. If you are a Dallas Mavericks fan, you're happy that this has happened, but I can imagine there is a certain sense of sickness that just doesn't feel particularly good. But you know what? It's gone. It's over. It's flushed out of your system. And I hope you'll be able to find peace and solace in the fact that this team will be better. In terms of the NBA, let me just, you know what? I'm just going to do this every once in a week. I'm just going to kind of look at the standings and see what shocks me. For one, Detroit being the second team to 10 wins. I was going to say Thunder. The Thunder being ridiculously good. I mean, not only being ridiculously good, but the Clippers being so pitifully bad that the Thunder could actually have one of the top picks again is horrifying. My Suns have won 4 in a row. What can I say? Jordan Knott might be cooking something. I don't know what. But it looks so much... I understand it's early, it's only 12 games, and it's still got a long 70-game stretch. But for the first 12, for the first couple weeks of basketball, it feels okay-ish to be a Suns fan, knowing I don't have to go out there and watch Bradley Beal or Kevin Durant, knowing that there's a little bit more... It just feels more natural. It feels way more natural of a team than anything else. Whether it was winning or losing, we could be have 2 wins, and I'd feel still roughly better over that than having to watch the artificial construct that was Beal and Katie and bleh. It's gone now. Thank goodness. And of course, yes, none other than as soon as I mentioned it, Bradley Beal's in the chat with my recent injury. I'm sorry I let you down, but fear not, Phil. I will come back next year stronger than ever for you, buddy. I appreciate that, Bradley, but doing that on the Clippers isn't isn't really going to help me. I mean, I hope you come back and play well. I really do. I don't like seeing good players play poorly. I want to see good players play well, and when you're playing poorly, it's just not good. But you might just not be the guy anymore, and that's okay. That's okay. But we need to, it is what it is. You're not on the team anymore, man. You're not on the team. You're still making a lot of money off of us. I'm just, no hard feelings, but like hard feelings. You know what I'm saying? Regardless, the NBA is... Well, I think at some point starting next week, I'm going to try to do like a Friday-ish segment of the NBA if I can, just sort of recapping, because I try to watch the NBA in pretty much every other day that isn't NFL, but it's so hard, man, I just like the NFL more. I don't know. I like things slightly more than other things. The NFL is just something I like slightly more than the NBA. That being said, it's time to move off the NBA. As crazy as it is, because there's so much I want to talk about. I'll do it on a separate episode. I'm just happy the Suns have a winning record for right now. That's all I can. I'm just so giddy. I'm so Josh giddy, But I am very excited to see what they've been doing. I mean, honestly, I'll be honest. Did anyone see Grayson Allen's 42-point game? I'm sure y'all did. I'm sure you weren't watching, but you saw Grayson Allen drop 42. We're not going to beat the great teams. We're probably going to beat up on bad teams. But it's nice to know we're, mediocre. I'm okay with being mediocre right now, especially considering that we weren't... Because we have no incentive to be bad, right? We don't have, a lottery pick or anything to be bad for. So there's no point. We should just play, do what we got to do, With all that being said, I got to rank this week's games. It's big. It's a big week in the NFL for division rivalries. There's some fun little headlines that I'm seeing, so let's jump right into it. And, of course, we have to start. Oh, God, I thought I set this up. Hold on. Of course I didn't, because I'm a goofball. Hold on. There we go. Look at that. Easy. That was quick. I was quick. Josh Giddey, just make sure you check the ID, man. That's crazy. I always do, Josh. I always run that play. And always got to run that play to be safe. It's like, yeah, I really, you have to. Can't get caught. Can't be caught lacking. Come on. Stay away from that. Seriously, though. Josh, unbelievable, Josh. Unbelievable what you be doing. How you not gonna run the... Hey, man, I've always wanted to see what an Idaho driver's license looks like. That way you know. You don't get caught with some goofball activity, right? You know what I mean? Come on. Enough of this. Moving on. Starting off with tonight's game. The New York Jets have a crazy thing that's possible tonight. Not saying it's going to happen, because I don't think it is. But it's possible that the New York Jets can win a third straight game. All they have to do is beat the 2-loss New England Patriots. The New England Patriots, who've been on an absolute tear, who are 8-2, leading the AFC East. Drake May looking like the MVP, or at least an MVP candidate. Of course, there's Jonathan Taylor. Of course, there's Matthew Stafford in there. But Drake May is in that top 3 discussion. If he's not, they're looking a little crazy. But with what Drake May and the Patriots have been doing, this is going to be interesting. This is going to be an interesting game for sure. Josh Giddey, with your accent and charm, you thought you'd get away with it? Listen, man. No, not getting... Well, I mean, to be fair, it's kind of weird, because it feels like Josh Giddey kind of just got away with it, because he's still out hooping for the Bulls. It kind of feels like he still got away with it. I'm going to be real. It kind of feels like he did. That's all. I don't approve of it, but it definitely feels like he got away with it. Crazy stuff there, Mr. Giddey. Unbelievable stuff there. Regardless, Jets Patriots. I'm getting off topic. The Jets Patriots. There's some big keynotes about this game that I want to talk about. Number one, Drake May's definitely playing like an MVP. I think what's impressive with him over guys like Jonathan Taylor and Matthew Stafford for MVP, if you're to make the case for May, it's nobody thought he'd be good this quickly. Nobody thought New England would be as good as they are and leading Buffalo by 2 games in the division. And nobody would have thought that at this point, especially considering the cast of characters, the receiving core that's there, you definitely wouldn't be expecting the Patriots and Drake May in particular to have this kind of season. Because if you're going to be honest, this team's strength, actually no, they're not 2 games up, they're a game and a half, whatever. The strength of the Patriots you would have expected coming into the season is the ground game. The ground game, we're ground and pound on the ball with Ramondre Stevenson, with Travion Henderson. And really last week was the first time we saw their running game rip off big plays. I think that's going to be the key for New England, not just in this game, but in the last half of the season, developing an established rhythm with Ramondre Stevenson and Travion Henderson. I'd like to see Henderson start to become more of the lead back, get more of the touches. I think that's be huge for New England's offense moving forward. It would help their defense out tremendously. And I think tonight against the Jets team that, let's be honest, is really not that good, is a great start for them, especially at home, to start to facilitate that ground game. And as for the Jets, listen, this game has to be about you finding some offense. I mean, yeah, the scoreboard last week says, oh, they scored 27. They scored 14 of that on special teams. Like, I'm not gonna... Their offense was bad. It was putrid at times. Like, without the screen pass to Breece Hall, Justin Fields has 12 passing yards. Garrett Wilson's hurt, I understand that. That's not an excuse for not having offense. You have other guys on the offensive side of the ball. You need to be able to move it. Despite the fact that you don't have Garrett Wilson, you need to utilize your playmakers that you do have, like Breece Hall or Mason Taylor, to generate offense, okay? You can't just use the excuse that Garrett Wilson is out. Because we've seen wide receivers be out. We've seen wide receivers be out for games, and offenses will still move the ball. Like, I understand how good Garrett Wilson is, but we've seen guys invest in their receiving core, invest in their offensive line, invest in their running game, so that way, if they do lose a piece, they're not completely dead in the water. Jets are not only struggle with him, they struggle even more immensely without him. It's just not, it's not okay. I think this game tonight, I'm going to be honest, it's likely a blowout. Maybe New England falls into a trap game, maybe, but they've been playing bad teams and still been whooping them before. Like, they took care of Tennessee, they took care of Cleveland. I get it's a division rivalry game, and I understand that. But I just don't buy into the Jets being able to pull off an upset. I find it very hard to be able to do, all things considered. I just don't buy into it. Jay is in the chat. What is going on, Jay? You know what? Let me give the 3 shout-outs. Let me give 1 for Bradley Beal. Let me give another for Josh Giddey. And let me give 1 for Jay. There we go. Jay, how's it going? The Jets are a JV squad whose roster was raided by the varsity game. Yeah, a little bit, especially after what we've seen from the Indianapolis Colts trading for Sauce Gardner, trading for Quinn Williams. But listen, it's not like that that JV squad was going anywhere. That JV squad wasn't winning any titles. They were stuck in, forget neutral. They may as well have been stuck in reverse. This is a Jets team that just does not have the ability to facilitate enough offense, and it's a big deal. It's a big deal overall for the New York Jets. I think they get blown out in New England. I think winning 2 in a row. I just don't think New England. A lot of people say, well, this could be a trap game. New England already doesn't really feel like a team that's going to fall for this. If the Jets win this game, they're soiling their draft position. Absolutely soiling it, because there's no shot they get into the postseason with the stacked AFC this year. But no, it's just not happening. I have New England getting a big win. I think they dominate. I might have to check up on Rob. I don't know if Kayshon Boutte is ready to go. That's the one thing where I could see potential concern being drawn from, at least on the Patriots end. But I just don't. I don't know. I don't buy it. I don't buy it, folks. I don't. Let me see. Patriots depth chart. I just want to make sure that Kayshon Boutte, if he is good to go, and if he's not, okay, so he's still not good to go. Ramondre Stevenson, of course, being still out. I still think Stevenson being out, low-key, is a benefit, because they really should be trying to get more touches to Henderson. I think he's just, what he was able to do last week against the Bucs, those big play opportunities should be there again this week. Moving along, after the Jets and the Patriots play Thursday night. Again, I think New England's going to blow them out. We have our final international game of the season taking place in Madrid, out in Spain, between the Washington Commanders and the Miami Dolphins. This one's I thought this game was going to be like, it's mid. And you know what? Very good chance. But we have a battle. Did you guys know? We have a battle of the Hawaiians. We've got Marcus Mariota versus Tua Tagovailoa. How about that? How about that for a matchup? How about that for a little saucy headline, huh? Marcus Mariota going up against Tua Tagovailoa with no Jaden Daniels, still out with an elbow injury. Marcus Mariota will be the man for the Commanders in this one. And listen, these two teams are bad. I think what's interesting, the big two things I'd want to look at in this game, number one, on the Commander side is, what's the defense going to look like against a Miami team that's actually kind of resurged a little bit? Like, they beat Buffalo. I wouldn't doubt it if, I know Miami's in a bad spot and has to win a lot of games in a row to be considered contenders, or not even contenders, to be considered maybe a incredible long shot to make the playoffs, but you got to give credit. I would have thought Mike McDaniel would have been gone by now. Losers should be forced to stay in Spain for the rest of the season. Honestly, if there's one of these teams that I'd rather have in there, it would be Washington. I'll tell you why. Washington, who had big expectations, completely fell flat. Whereas Miami had expectations, but nobody thought they were going to even come close to winning the division, say a Patriots, right? Nobody really thought that. And I understand Washington, Jaden Daniels hasn't been playing at the same level, and he's been banged up and in and out of the lineup, and they haven't had Terry McLaurin, and they haven't had Deebo Samuel at times, and they're just an old team. I think that's the reality with Washington. They're just an old team, and Dan Quinn has now actually taken back the reins of controlling the defense, so maybe he can get them taken care of. But I think for Miami, yeah, obviously losing Tyreek Hill, Tua Tagovailoa has been bad, sure. But Devon Achane has been a huge bright spot for this team. They didn't trade Jalen Waddle, which makes me feel like they still want him to be a part of the team moving forward. They may move off McDaniel, which is very possible. But if you were to tell, Mike McDaniel is not going to be the first or second coach fired. We've already seen two coaches fired in the form of Brian Dable for the Giants and in the form of Brian Callahan for the Titans. We've already seen two coaches out the door, and Mike McDaniel's still there. I think there is... I don't know what it is, because he doesn't look good at the press box. I don't know what's going on there, but players for whatever reason buy into him. And honestly, this is a game that kind of feels dead center for me. It might be good, it might be bad. I don't know. This game could be blowout either way. This game could be an incredibly close game. I don't know how to feel about it. I think this could be Miami, huge, incredible explosion on offense, or Washington actually pitching a good defensive game because Dan Quinn takes over. And listen, Marcus Mariota, he's not really a guy that you'd want to pay to be a starting quarterback. But in terms of backups, you could have much worse out there. So I think I don't know if it's necessarily worth getting up incredibly early if you're on the West Coast at 6 a.m. Maybe tune in for the fourth, see if the game's close. But I'm going to be up for it. I know I'm going to be up for it. I can't get enough football. I need to watch every game. I would say this. I like Miami in this. I think Miami finds a way to win 2 in a row. I think their offense has gotten on the right footing. I think it's starting to get on track. They're figuring out a little bit of an identity with Devon Achane. I kind of like what I'm seeing there. Jay says Jaden and CJ, the same quarterback. Great rookie years and fell off year 2. I want to agree with you, but I think the difference for me is that unlike CJ Stroud, Jaden Daniels has A, been banged up in year 2, and B, has not had his best receiver, McLaurin. So I think and you know what might play into this kind of too, and I'll play this. He's definitely not the same as last year, but I don't think the fall off is the same. I think the one big thing in terms of quarterback play, in terms of them winning games, yeah, the fall off is real, but I still think Jaden can turn it around significantly more than I think CJ can. I think part of it is having young defensive coaches. I think it's very hard to have young defensive coaches develop a quarterback. Robert Saleh couldn't figure it out with Zach Wilson. I think generally for a defensive-minded coach, you need a guy who's already kind of had some years under his belt and knows how to play the position. offensive guys can take young guys and mold their minds a little bit, whereas defensive guys just don't have that ability. Which is why, like, I think these quarterbacks can come in really early and play really well, like, early on in their career. But when they're asked as a defensive guy to develop their guy more, they're just unable to do it. Like, for example, Mac Jones with Bill Belichick is a great example. Now, I'm not saying Mac Jones is great, but he looks much better under Kyle Shanahan. A lot of these offensive coaches just know how to put their quarterbacks in a position to make plays, whereas a lot of these defensive guys who are good coaches don't know how to do that as well. And as a result, they end up progressing as opposed to taking a next step. That's my take on it. I don't know, but I've seen it happen before. If we've seen it happen with Jaden, we're now seeing it happen with... We saw it happen with CJ. We're seeing it now happen with Jaden. It's just where... And then, of course, you see like weird ones with like Mike McDaniel, who is offensive, but I don't know. Tua just feels off to me. But we've seen it twice now with these young defensive coaches mentoring these young quarterbacks, and it may not be their entire responsibility. So we'll see what ends up happening. But I think Jaden Daniels has a shot more so to turn around than CJ Stroud, and I'd like for both of them to, but I just don't know if that's possible. If you're going to draft a quarterback high, he needs a QB guru offensive coach to succeed. I 100% agree. You need to have... And like, that's interesting, right? Because Cam Ward also had an offensive guy. Like, think about it. Think about the two quarterbacks that were taken in the first round this year, in Ward and Dart. Both their coaches now fired. And if they bring in defensive guys, like, what are we doing, right? I think both those teams will hopefully find good offensive coaches to help mold their guys and bring them up and add to their games. Because I like what Dart's shown. I think Ward, for whatever reason, has just been a struggle in Tennessee. It might just be just because of the severe lack of talent. Like, I thought the Giants were lacking talent. The Titans are lacking serious talent. I mean, at least the Giants had neighbors to start the year. Cam Scadaboo looks good, right? Even Wan'Dale Robinson has made plays from here and there. Theo Johnson's underrated. Titans have nothing going for them, so they need a whole new regime in there with the new coach to get Cam Ward on the right track. But speaking of those quarterbacks and speaking of Jackson Dart, we have the Green Bay, who unfortunately is out for this game. He's out with a concussion. The New York Giants will be hosting the Green Bay Packers. And I'll give you a hot take. I think this is a good matchup. I really do. I think with Jameis Winston starting at the quarterback position, I think this game gets very, very exciting. It just is. It's going to be an exciting game. I have a feeling about it. Cam said it, they asked. Agreed, 100%. He said it himself. They're lacking either critical coaching. They're saying a lot of different... AJ Brown said... My God. Yes, he sure did. I don't know if he was talking about the Titans, though. I mean, maybe that's what he was talking about on the stream. Maybe he was talking about the Titans. I'm not sure. Well, we'll find out, though, as we go forward. I like this game, though, between the Packers and the Giants. I think it's going to be... I think with Jameis starting, Jameis always makes a starting matchup fun. It pretty much... Hold on, I just realized something. This is a little higher than I'd like. Wait, what? Hold on. What the... Aha! There we go. That's better. It was in the way of the text. I don't know why. Anyway, yeah. Now, here's the thing. I think Packers, low-key, I know this sounds hot take to say, I think they're fraudulent. No Jaden Reed and Tucker Kraft's out for the year. This team is frauds. They don't know who they are offensively. They can't I think Matt LaFleur is a very good offensive coach, and as a result, you think the players he has are better than they are, but they're not. Christian Watson was not healthy for the majority of the beginning of the year. Comes in, gets like 4 targets a game, catches only half of them. He has like 2 catches a game. Like, you have Romeo Doubs, who has maybe 1 or 2 big performances a year. Right? They just don't have a true wide receiver 1. And I don't think you need to be passing the ball all the time to be winning. But if you don't have a presence on those 3rd and 9 pluses or on those big downs you need to convert, like there's nobody who can get open, right? So nobody feels the need to double team anybody on that Packers offense. And if nobody's double teamed, guess what? Everybody's up one-on-one manning their guys. And I would honestly take at least half of the secondaries in the league minimum over the Green Bay Packers wide receivers in a head-v-head 1v1 showdown. It's just not comparable. And I mean, I know Tucker Kraft being out doesn't help anything, but I gotta be honest, losses to Cleveland, Carolina, and then a very winnable game at home against Philadelphia, it feels off. It doesn't make any sense to me. I don't know how to feel about Green Bay. Micah, and now I don't like the headlines where they say Mike is not having an impact, because he is. He's getting pressures. He was getting pressure on Jalen Hurts all night. They just struggled to contain. But they were trying their best to, and they held him to 10 points. Like, say what you will, they did a good job defensively. Their offense needs to step up and have some better production, because that was ridiculous. That was not okay. And this has happened multiple times for Green Bay this year. Halfway through, they need to show that they can make some significant changes going through the rest of the season. And I think it starts with this New York Giants team. As good as this Giants team is pressuring teams, Deonte Banks, like on the back end, bro, he gets cooked all the time. They gotta get some moves against the New York Giants team. They should be able to move the ball. Players telling it how it is. It's an uprising. And then Mike Jameis up all game, no commentary, highest rated game this year. Honestly, like Jameis has to be Mike's. Like they found out Jameis was starting. Oh, they're miking him up. They gotta put him on the hot mic. I think this is gonna. I think he's gonna sling the ball around, right? Like at this point, Giants have nothing to lose. Jameis is just a guy who goes out there. He whatever his first read is, he's going to it. Whether it ends up getting picked off or for an 80-yard pick six or an 80-yard touchdown, doesn't matter. Jameis is going to be slinging the rock. Start every Giants player you got. Every single Giants player you have, start him in fantasy because somebody's gonna go off. I just don't know who. Might be Slayton, honestly. Darius Slayton feels like a funny, like, could go off kind of night against Green Bay. I still have the Packers. I find it very hard to believe they're going to lose 3 in a row. I think Matt LaFleur just has this team too well coached to lose this game. But that being said, I could definitely see a New York Giants upset here for sure. From what I'm seeing out of Green Bay, though, is just not nearly enough. And all this talk of Super Bowl like favorite or Super Bowl favorite in the NFC was 100% premature because right now they don't have a real identity. They're trying to be a run-first team, but they don't have enough of a passing threat for it to matter as much. And I had Jordan Love as MVP of the league to start this year. My fault. My bad. My fault, That's on me. I'll do better next time. I'll think of, next time I'll say Drake May or Matthew Stafford, a guy like that, I promise. Because this was bad. This was just a disgrace. Just not good for the Packers. We'll see if they can turn around this week against the New York Giants. Let me go to bye teams. I believe the New Orleans Saints and Indianapolis Colts are the 2 teams on bye. Should be, listen, I liked seeing Tyler Shuck. I'm sad I'm not going to be able to see more of him this week. I'm actually kind of, dare I say, excited. Shuck could actually make Chris Olave look great. He won't throw him hospital passes like Derek Carr, and he won't throw awful passes like Spencer Rattler. Like, here we go. The Olave rise. And then as for the Colts, listen, that's probably the MVP. Jonathan Taylor's probably the MVP. If they give it to a quarterback this year, then I don't think there's any chance that a running back will ever win MVP ever. That's my take. If it's not, listen, I felt that way about Saquon, but you could make an argument that the seasons that Allen and Lamar were having were very impressive. If they're not giving Jonathan Taylor the MVP this year, if he continues his run, I gotta say, running backs never winning it again. Running backs need now 3,000 yards. That's the new benchmark for them to get MVP. Like, that's the reality. I just don't see a world in which that doesn't happen. Because it has to. It has to. It's got no choice. Moving on to the next game on our list. Texans-Titans. Our second division rivalry. And honestly, probably the worst one. This is just, might as well so be bad it's AI. This is, first of all, Titans have been bad. That's well established. And Houston, absolutely underwhelming. Like, I get it. What they did against Jacksonville last week, very impressive. But it's still probably going to be Davis Mills versus Cam Ward. And we've seen Cam Ward this year. And I know Davis Mills is not going to be able to do that again. Like, I don't feel anything about either. Like, I used to feel something about Houston. Houston used to get me excited. I don't feel anything for the Texans anymore. And the Titans haven't made me feel anything probably since Derrick Henry and A.J. Brown left. Like, it's just a bad franchise. You feel for the rat. He was pure comedy. Rattler was... I remember when the rattlesnake in Spencer Rattler and the boa constrictor in Bo Nix faced off, and it was one of the worst... I think it was the worst Thursday night game of the year because of just how bad the Saints were in that one. But yeah, I do kind of feel for the Rat, but he was also, fifth round pick. There was very little chance he's going to be able to maintain hold of that job, especially with Shuck in the building as a second rounder. And I'm not going to lie, I kind of like Shuck. Shuck makes me feel something. Shuck makes me feel something for the Saints. Davis Mills and Cam Ward right now don't do that for the Texans and Titans, respectively. And listen, Titans need to find some form of offense. I doubt this is the game just because Houston's defense is so good. I think the Texans are probably going to win it in what will be a very sloppy, messy game is my guess. I have Houston, but that one's going to be a brutal one to get through. I got to be honest, folks. That one's going to be a brutal one to get through. I don't even want to talk about it. I'm moving on to the third game. Panthers, Falcons, the third division rival game, I should say. It's the fifth game we're talking about, but the third division rival game. This one's kind of similar. It's not in the same vein, but it feels very similar. Listen, Carolina's fraudulent. They just lost to the Saints. No excuses. Everyone, I get it. Everyone's excited, oh my gosh, Carolina, they're finally, and they're slightly more competent than they were before, but they're still not very good, right? They're better, which is fine. But Bryce Young in year 3, I can confidently say he's not the face of the Panthers or future. He's just not. He's not the future quarterback. Through 3 years, or really even 2.5 years, I've seen 1, maybe 2 great performances. That's it. And it's not like this Carolina Panthers team isn't giving him help. They added Rico Dowdle to this offense. They've drafted Teteroa McMillan. They drafted Xavier Legette the year before. They signed Robert Hunt in free agency. They've added offensive pieces. It's just Bryce Young is underwhelming. The problem is when these smaller quarterbacks, right, get drafted, like Kyler Murray, like Bryce Young, right, these smaller, undersized guys, the rest of their traits have to be amazing. Not a particularly strong arm on Bryce Young. He's not nearly as mobile as Kyler Murray was when he came out. Even Kyler Murray has a pretty deep ball. I've seen it. You can see some of the throws on tape from Kyler. He can drop it in the bucket. And Bryce Young has made some of those throws on occasion. But he hasn't gotten to the point where it's consistent. He hasn't gotten to a point where there's a defining trait that you could say about him that's great outside of his accuracy. I'm sure he's a great locker room guy and he's a great dude. But to be the face of the franchise right now, I just don't think that's the answer. Rico Dowdle's the biggest part of the reason why this team is even where they are now. It isn't Bryce Young. And as for Atlanta, I don't understand where we would be looking at in terms of team somehow through less than a season of play. Falcons fans have already given up on Penix. I'd relax. I'd give him a real shot with a real coach that's not Raheem Morris. I'd give him a chance with an offensive coach that's good, because Raheem Morris, from what I've heard of Atlanta, is the Antichrist. That's what I'm hearing. So that's how bad it is, especially for a coach that was already on the staff and then got brought back into the Atlanta organization. It's a nightmare. It really is kind of just gross. Especially with all the talent that they have in the form of Bijan and Drake London, and I guess to an extent Kyle Pitts, right? The way they utilize that talent is just so, sometimes you see it, it's oh my gosh, it's amazing. Drake London's borderline top 5, right? Bijan's the best running back league, right? Or second best right now because Jonathan Taylor. And you have this just sinking disappointment every time. I think Raheem Morris is a coach that gets fired by the end of the season, in my opinion. I think the Falcons look somewhere else because I just don't see... There's no improvement from last year. It feels like things have gotten worse. I would want a young offensive coach trying to develop Michael Penix moving forward. And I've seen Michael Penix. He's got some of the chops. I don't think having Raheem Morris to be the head coach, and especially Zach Robinson as the offensive coordinator, I don't think that'll solve much there in Atlanta. Panthers versus Falcons, 2 teams who on paper should be good, but the reality is they suck. Exactly. It's perfect. Especially for Atlanta. I don't know all about Carolina, but when you do look at some of their talent, it kind of makes sense. They've got some young receivers in there. They've improved their offensive line over years. J.C. Horn is a very good cornerback. and it just hasn't panned out for what it should be. So probably going to be mid or bad game between these two teams. That's my take. Moving on from there. Moving on to hold on, I gotta close the door and then I will be right back. Door has been shut. Ha ha ha. Moving on. The next game, I believe, is another division rival game. I want to say it's Bears. Did I just check my phone? Yeah, Bears-Vikings. This is actually, I think it's very fascinating. We had seen this game before. We'd seen it in the Week 1 matchup between the Chicago Bears and the Minnesota Vikings. Oh, by the way, I think Falcons win. I don't think Falcons allow Carolina to sweep them. I think Falcons bounce back and get the win and just kind of keep Falcons fans a little delusional and give them false hope. Next, we have Bears-Vikings. We saw this game Week 1, of course. We saw J.J. McCarthy's comeback. But the Bears have grown since then. They definitely feel like much more of an improved team. Ben Johnson, they're not perfect. They're far from perfect. But they are much improved offensively. Caleb Williams actually is starting to feel like a guy who can be the quarterback for years there in Chicago with Ben Johnson as the head coach. They're starting to be good. And to be honest, I think that this is going to be a great matchup. I think the Ravens, especially with the way they're coached and with the quarterback mismatch, are too tall a task. But this game, I think, could be reasonable to see. I could see J.J. McCarthy. The one big thing, I'll say this, J.J. McCarthy and Justin Jefferson need to get on the right page. Jefferson is averaging his lowest yards per game with McCarthy as quarterback. Like, he's been on the same page with guys like Nick Mullins at quarterback. All the other quarterbacks he's had thrown to him, whether it's Wentz, whether it's Cousins, whether it's Darnold, have all been able to get on the same page with Justin Jefferson. McCarthy needs to figure that out. Justin Jefferson needs 12 targets a game. That's your bread and butter. That is your offense. You need to be getting him the ball involved. You need to be getting him involved, especially against a Chicago team that at times has struggled defensively. I think that is something that you do need to get going if you're J.J. McCarthy. If you're the Bears, obviously you're going to want to, pass the ball over the Vikings. I think this is actually a mismatch, in my opinion. I think we kind of saw that in Week 1. I know the Bears are developed and a little different now, but having Andrew Van Ginkel back for the Vikings defense is a huge impact player for them. And what I've seen from Minnesota, listen, they're not out of it. They're still kind of mediocre, not nearly as good as last year, but they're far from out of it. And I do not doubt that the Minnesota Vikings could potentially get some stuff going, but it comes down to Justin Jefferson. Can you get Justin Jefferson involved in this pass game? Where has he been? He's on my fantasy team. Let's go, guys. Like, seriously, what was it? 4 catches, 37 yards against the Ravens defense that had struggled all year long? What are we doing? Come on. He is your lifeblood. He is your life preserver on offense. Why is he not getting the ball? Yeah, Jets has killed me points-wise in fantasy since JJ came back. JJ McCarthy needs to figure it out. I think that is the key for him. Is if he can just and he doesn't have to do much. He has to understand, A, Jay Jettis is probably usually open, and B, even if he's not, give him a shot. Like, I understand Jay Jettis, is known for his route running. He's got hands. We've seen him make some crazy catches. Throw him the rock. Even if he's covered, throw it to him. There's a good chance he either comes down with it or you get a pass interference. You have to be able to get the ball into the hands of your best players. I'm going to tell you right now, the best player on that offense is not Addison, it's not Naylor, it's not Hawkinson, it's not Aaron Jones, it's not Jordan Mason. It is number 18 in purple and gold. That's who it is. Moving off of that frustrating discussion, next we have two teams that I believe, I might be wrong, but I believe both these teams are still in the playoff picture. The Chargers, I combined the names. The Chargers and the Jaguars, that's also another 1 o'clock game. This game can really, I would say this could be a blowout either way or it could be really close. The Chargers have been, I want to say fool's gold, but I like Herbert. I like Jim Harbaugh. The only problem is they're really banged up. As for the Jags, 100% fool's gold. I don't know how to feel about them. They should have beaten Houston last week. I don't know how they did not. And I've officially sold. I was holding out. I was saying maybe Jacksonville could, still get into the AFC South race. I'm selling the stock for now. I'm going to sell it. I might buy it back when it goes up a little. I might buy it back, but I have to say right now, after what I saw against the Houston Texans, up 29-10, I believe it was, up 19 in the fourth quarter against the backup quarterback. Just not good to be having that happen. That's happened twice now. That happened against Cincinnati in week 2. So, for me, I think, and to be fair, one of the big things that is holding this Jacksonville team back is the amount of drops from the receivers. I believe it's 25 drop passes by Jaguar receivers. The next closest for any team is like 16. I think it's like Atlanta or something, but it's not good. It's bad. Like, guys are not catching passes there. They're not taking advantage of their opportunities. And despite them not taking advantage of those opportunities, they do have a winning record and are in the playoff picture. So it is, in a sense, it's just kind of shocking. Like, you got a 5-4 Jaguars team. They got 5 wins. Like, a lot of people would have said they wouldn't have even gotten 4. So, and I still don't know what to make of Trevor Lawrence. I have no idea who this man is. I have no idea if he's a bust or not. I think he's okay. He's not great, but he's not awful. Like, I don't know. Maybe he goes somewhere else and is spectacular. But right now, it's so weird to see. It just doesn't make sense. Jags were bend, don't break, but I think the loss last week broke them. Yeah. That'd break me. Listen, the difference between 5-4 and 6-3 in the AFC, especially right now, is huge. Because, look, I'm going to check out the playoff picture real quick. That playoff picture, I mean, right now it's what? Colts are still Colts might not actually be the one. No, they beat Atlanta, so Colts are probably the one. But, like, look at this. The playoff picture right now says, listen, and again, you have to remember, like, Baltimore's going to start winning games. Kansas City's going to start winning games. Like, those teams are going to creep back into the playoffs regardless. Like, right now it's Colts, Broncos, Patriots, and Steelers lead their divisions. Chargers are the 5, Bills are the 6, Jags are the 7, and look on the outside looking in, Chiefs, Texans, Ravens. And the Texans just beat you. So the understanding is, and Chiefs are right there. They have the same record. They're 5-4. The only difference right now for the Jaguars is the head-to-head. That's the only thing keeping them in it right now. So, like, what are we doing? Like, can y'all figure it out? Are you not going to figure it out? What's the idea? Where's this going? I don't know. I think Jacksonville's probably going to fall out of that playoff race down the line for either Kansas City or probably like Baltimore or Pittsburgh. But it's not looking good for Jaguars if they allow that to stick. And for Liam Cohen, they got to wipe that out of their minds and say, let's go. Let's figure this out. And unfortunately, no Travis Hunter. So now you're actually down. I think the reason they traded for Jacoby Myers was more Travis Hunter's injury more than his Brian Thomas Jr. struggling. It's kind of both, but I do think it was more of the former than the latter. But again, like, they have to find a way to generate consistent offense. I don't know how it's gonna happen, but it's got to happen if they want to stay in that playoff picture. Bucks. Is Bucks Bills the game of the week? I'm gonna say it's a great matchup. I don't know. I think I put the Bucks in there last time, so I don't wanna quite do that. But I think I have a different one that I think it's gonna be a primetime game. Spoiler alert! It's gonna be a primetime game. But I like listen. These are two teams. These are two. I don't want to say necessarily. These are guys that think they can make the Super Bowl this year, right? That's the understanding. Bucks, Bills feel like they can make the Super Bowl. These are two incredible teams. These are two quarterbacks that are at the top of their games right now. And the big thing to note is... Wait, hold on. Let me go backwards real quick. Chargers, Jags. I don't know who's winning that game. Right now, I got to take the Chargers. I trust the Chargers coaching staff a little bit more. I trust the Chargers coaching staff a little bit more. And I don't know how to feel about Jacksonville right now with their offense being too inconsistent. Don't know what else to say in that regards to that. Bucks, Bills. Bucks are unfortunately not fully healthy, but Baker Mayfield is still an incredible quarterback, and Mike Igbukka is a very good wide receiver. They will very much still make this game a good one to watch. Bills need to bounce back, and they need to bounce back in a hurry because Thursday Night Football is actually going to dictate a lot. Regardless, if the Patriots win, whether the Patriots win or lose, it's really important that Buffalo finds a way to beat Tampa because, again, Patriots not only beat the Bucs in their building, but for Buffalo, if you lose, you continue to lose ground from New England trying to win the division. And if the Patriots lose and you lose, then you didn't have a chance to make up the division. You're kind of rooting for the Jets, of course. You would like to see them beat the Patriots so you have a shot to make up ground in the AFC East. But if you're Buffalo, dropping the Miami game is so bad because it was supposed to be a layup game. where now you're in a position where, shoot, now we really can't afford to lose any other games. We know we have our matchup with New England, but we can't really afford to lose to Tampa, right? So Tampa's a little banged up. It's going to be interesting to see. I think the Bills should bounce back in a 1 o'clock game at home. That's my expectation, especially we'll see what the weather ends up looking like in Buffalo. That could be playing a major factor for a team that plays in, sunny Florida and Tampa Bay. I'm going to take the Bills for now. Especially with Travion Henderson breaking off runs last week for New England, I could see similar things happening for James Cook. So we will see where that goes moving forward for the Bucs and Bills. The other one, the rematch of the Unk Bowl. I have the Bills beating the Bucs, but the Unk Bowl between the Cincinnati Bengals and the Pittsburgh Steelers. I don't think this is going to be as great as last time, but I think it will be a good game, and I think there are a couple key notes. Number one, Bengals are off a bye. We'll see how good this team is prepared for, how prepared the Cincinnati Bengals are for the Pittsburgh Steelers. But as for the Steelers, it has been last week was not a good sign. The defense finally started to play a little bit better. They sacked Justin Herbert 5 times, and yet the offense was absolutely lifeless for the majority of the game. And again, I emphasize this. This is an awful defense. They cannot look lifeless this game. They need to take advantage of a bad defense and be able to play well offensively. If Pittsburgh wants to have any shot of either winning the AFC North or, I would argue, being 9-8 even. I would even argue to get to 9-8, the next 2 weeks are must win. You play Cincinnati, you play Chicago. I'd argue they're must win. And that might come off as that might be a hot take, but I have to be serious. I don't see a world in which because they have the Bills in that schedule, they have the Ravens twice, they have the Lions. They are in deep doo-doo if they don't figure it out right now and win these games that I would argue you could make a case or certainly lay up wins, especially against a Cincinnati team that only has 3 wins on the year and a Chicago team that, while good, I believe will struggle against what should be a better, improved defense, right? I don't think Pittsburgh will allow Cincinnati to sweep them, especially at home. I think Pittsburgh should come out and play much better than they have in previous weeks. I think Pittsburgh needs to do that if they want to have any shot at preserving their season. They have to win. They have to win this. They have to win the next 2 games. It starts with winning this one. I have the Steelers taking down Cincinnati. Their defense should be much improved in terms of getting to the quarterback. They have to get after Joe Flacco and pressuring him, and they have to have a better game plan for Jamar Chase. Hopefully the move of Jalen Ramsey to safety should help them. I'm kind of confused with Jamal Adams for a second. And the other thing for Pittsburgh that baffles me, and I need to say it now, where is DK Metcalf? What are you doing trading away George Pickens and going and getting DK Metcalf just to use him even less than you did Pickens? What is the logic there? I don't know what it is. They need to start utilizing the offensive piece that they have. Because DK has just been a decoy. He feels like decoy Metcalf. Start getting him the ball. Start drawing up plays for DK Metcalf. Because why bother bringing him in, right? It just doesn't make any sense. Right now, I think this game will still be good, though. I don't know if it'll live up to what the Unk Bowl was, but I think this game will be good. Oh, boy. We still got some 1 o'clock games to get through, so I'm trying to go. Moving it along. Moving it. Yeah, man, Chargers are 7-3. That's crazy. It might still be good. I'm not sure. I guess we'll never know. All right, let me see here real quick. I just have to make sure I have the right game up. And, all right. Oh, never mind. We are done with the 1 o'clock games. Aaron Rodgers is in the building. Let me give Aaron Rodgers his little flowers there. Aaron says, I've made some adjustments since last week to my second helix. I will no longer throw like Uncle Rico, and like a lizard, my receivers grew arms back. And like a lizard. I hope so. Calvin Austin, that was a really bad drop at the end as well. That was really frustrating to see. But regardless, I think the Pittsburgh Steelers will find a way. I think Aaron Rodgers, will find a way to get us the win this coming weekend. That's what I'm hoping. If we get swept by Cincinnati, I'll never hear the end of it. Moving it along to the 4 o'clock games, the late games, the Arizona Cardinals. They will be facing off at home, no? I think it's at home against San Francisco. The return of Brock Purdy. Brock Purdy, as of a few hours ago, I believe, is set to make his return in this game against Arizona. And to be honest, this game could go either way because I have no idea what Brock Purdy's going to look like. Is he going to look fully healthy and ready to go? Is he going to look basically like a slightly worse version of Mac Jones? I don't know. But Brock Purdy will finally make his return. We'll see if the offense looks any different. Because if it doesn't, then guess what, San Francisco? You're paying Brock Purdy basically the same thing you're paying Mac Jones for. And in my opinion, as much as I am a Brock Purdy hater, I do think that the offense is different when Brock Purdy runs it and then when Mac Jones runs it. I think Brock is a little bit more confident in taking deep shots that Mac hasn't always been taking. I think the offense will be a little bit more creative. It'll allow for a few more opportunities in there. I like the San Francisco 49ers to beat the Arizona Cardinals because Arizona is a mess, especially after it happened against Seattle. I kind of doubt that the Cardinals win this game. That's just my take. I kind of doubt that they win this game. I got my doubts. Got my reservations, whatever. I just don't think it's going to happen. And again, no Kyler Murray, but, honestly, Arizona's going to move off Kyler Murray anyway, so let's not even think about that. Aaron is a steady diet of beef pizzle, and I am ready and healthy. What is that? What is am I about to look up beef pizzle? I'm terrified of what I'm about to see. I feel like it's not real, and I'm gonna be horrified. Oh, okay, these things. Okay, bully. Oh yeah, bully. Wait, you're eating dog treats, dude? That's what they call that. I just call them bully sticks. I didn't know they were also called beef pizzles. That's just. I feel like that's really just. That's a dog stick. Aaron, are you saying you got that dog in you? Is that what you're saying? Is that what you're saying? You got that dog in you that you're eating dog treats? Let's go! Let's go, Aaron! Oh, you know who else has that dog in him? Matthew Stafford, my personal pick for MVP. Let me see. That game's also 4-5, right? Yes, it is. Seahawks, Rams. Sam Darnold, who has looked very good in the Seahawks uniform this year, taking on Matthew Stafford and the Los Angeles Rams. I will say that this is my game of the week. Let me hear that, Steve Harvey. Look what they're made out of. Wait, oh no, Jay, if they're made, is it like raw hide? No, that was raw like beef hide or something. Oh, dude, come on, ain't no way. You telling me I'm feeding my dog beef pizzles, which is just dried bull penis? That's so messed up. They really use every part, huh? They use every part of the bull. It's not the cow, it's the bull here, but man, what? That's insane. You're feeding Aaron, you're eating dog penis? How? What? Dude, I can't believe this. It's an evil world we live in. That's crazy. And I'm stuck here thinking, man, I can't believe that. I didn't know. I honestly didn't know. I just thought it was like the leftover meat. I guess maybe that's what's left over when they're done. It's just the man's man. That's insane. Like, could you imagine some other higher form of species removing ours and just feeding it to their, subservient best friend? Unbelievable. That's terrifying. All that to say, I think the Rams beat the Seahawks. I just like Matthew Stafford. Matthew Stafford's playing like an MVP. I don't know if Puka's still available. Let me make sure, though. Let me make sure. Oh, shoot. I have to set some lineups here in a second. Hold on. Actually, do I even want anyone from... I might want Drake May, but I don't know if he'll even play well or not. Is he playing? Is he playing, Puka? Puka, are you playing? Are you playing, Puka? Please, tell me. Tell me, are you playing? Are you playing, Puka? Puka, are you playing? Puka is not questionable, but somehow Devontae Adams is. Their wide receiver duo is never healthy. I still have the Rams regardless, though. I like Matthew Stafford. He's at home. He's playing at MVP level. I don't think he is the MVP. I would take Jonathan Taylor right now. But if I'm picking a quarterback, I'm picking Matthew Stafford. He's playing like he's playing like gangbusters. He's playing like gangbusters. I think the Rams taking down the Seahawks. Although the Seahawks have been good. Their defense has played well. Sam Darnold fits well in the role. Jackson Smith and Jigba, candidate for Offensive Player of the Year, but with JT, it's tough. I like, what can I say? I like Matt Stafford and the Rams. Makes me strong like bull and helps with the love-making no poop. Jeez, Aaron. That's a lot to be spewing. Supposedly he is. Dude. I can't with this, man. I can't with this. What? How is it helpful? I feel like, isn't that then the concept of the blue pill? Like, it's not a pill, I guess, but it's still like a thing you're consuming to help you be better at something. I'm not getting into that. I don't want to think about that. I'm getting a move on. I gotta get a move on with these games, man. This is getting filthy. But I would be surprised to see Seahawks pull it out in a close one. I kind of could see that too. I think it's going to be a very entertaining game. That's why I have it as game of the week. I do like the Rams though. I got a feeling in here, man. I need Matt Stafford to keep doing what he's doing. Now, they're probably like the second odds for the second favorite to win the Super Bowl. I feel like in the Rams, so I'm excited. I want to see if Matt Stafford, I know Jonathan Taylor should win it, but if Matt Stafford gets an MVP and has a Super Bowl ring, I think the narrative of who he is completely shifts. I think all of a sudden we're talking about, oh, he's like borderline Hall of Famer to like, yeah, he should be getting in. Broncos Chiefs. This is, I'm gonna go with good for now. I'm not entirely sure because the thing is, and I don't know about you guys, don't the Broncos feel a little fraudulent? Like, they have 8 wins, but where's the impressive one? Like, yeah, they beat up on Dallas. That's probably, like, to me, one of their more impressive wins. But, man, like, that Thursday night football game against the Raiders doesn't sit right with me. Kansas City's coming off a bye week. They should be prepared, even if it is a good Denver defense. I like the Chiefs to bounce back. After they lost to the Buffalo Bills. They're going to enter their bye week. They're going to go into Denver, and they're probably going to win and take advantage of mismatches. I don't know how to feel about Denver. I think they're still good, and I think they can do good things, but I still feel like Kansas City at this point is like, all right, guys, we need to start making our run, and it starts here against the Denver Broncos. That would be my take on it. I think Kansas City goes in. They get Rashee Rice involved. They find a way to win in Denver. Denver feels a little off to me. I don't know where their statement win is. Yes, they've been winning games, but unlike New England, who just had a huge statement win, where's Denver's? Denver should have blown out the Raiders if we feel really confident. A 10-7 game with one of the most struggling defenses in the NFL just doesn't really exude confidence. So I would say I like the Chiefs to go into Denver and pull off an upset win. Aaron says, the FDA won't tell you what's healthy and what's not. They all take kickbacks from Big Pharma. Big Pharmacy. Beef pizzle is like steroids, so packed with iron and protein. Listen, man, if you like dried bull penises, I ain't gonna knock you for it. I just, I get in the, I don't need, I'll find other ways to get my protein. I'll find other ways. I'm sure there's multiple other ways out there. The last late game, Browns hosting the Ravens. This will likely be a mid game, I imagine. Or, you know what, I could see Baltimore. No, you know what, I'm going to take it back. I think this is a mid/bad game because the last time we saw Cleveland against the Ravens, they actually pulled off the win. So I wouldn't doubt it if Cleveland somehow finds a way to at least make it entertaining or keep it close or bad. But this is I think Baltimore probably wins, right? Because it's out of necessity. But I don't know. I feel like Cleveland has a certain level of pride in the past years that they really haven't had in a lot of years. So I don't know. There's a very good chance I think Cleveland finds a way to upset Baltimore. But I don't think it's going to be a great game. I think the Browns defense is going to make it difficult for the Ravens to be able to run the football. I have a feeling that, the Ravens are just going to kind of, I don't know, they're not going to be as great as they were previously. That's my take. I just kind of want Cleveland to win. So, if Cleveland wins, it'd be huge because then, we still have a lead. We can increase our lead in the division if we can beat Cincinnati. That's my hope. But another division rival clash, I just don't think... this is actually the last division rival clash of all of them. 9 of them. We got the Niners and the Cardinals, the Seahawks, the Rams, the Bears, the Vikings, the Steelers, the Bengals, the Chiefs, the Broncos, the Falcons, the Panthers, the Jets, the Patriots, and the Browns and the Ravens. And also Texans, Titans. Holy crap. Jay says play Shador versus the team he wouldn't be a backup for hilarious concept. Honestly, that'd be great. I think it's also really funny, too, that he's being a backup in a game against the team that would have also just had him as backup anyway. It's so... I have a lot of thoughts on the Shador thing. I feel like he could be good, but I don't think he'd be good in Cleveland anyway. So I'm like, yeah, you probably should start him, but I don't think it'll be significantly better than what you have, in my opinion. I just think they're lacking too much... Jerry Jeudy doesn't feel like a wide receiver 1 this year at all. He feels like a wide receiver 3. It's just not good. Lions, Eagles. I think this is the next one up. Lions go to Philadelphia. This should be a great matchup. I wouldn't doubt it if the Lions I wouldn't doubt if the Lions run up the score somehow in Philadelphia. I don't know. I feel like they kind of take. I feel like they invite the challenge to go into Philadelphia and try and win. And again, Philadelphia. I'm gonna be real. I know they're 7-2, but I gotta be honest. This team does not this team is on a very similar pace as the last one, but they don't feel nearly as impressive. They're not nearly as impressive running the ball. They've had their issues. Are they still winning? Yeah, they are. You can't take that away from them. I was going to say but there really isn't a but. The only real buts are... Actually, no, I take it back. There's a lot of buts. This offense... The A.J. Brown's complained about the offense, right? Saquon Barkley has been held under 60 yards per game in multiple games this year, right? It's just not good. Its strength has arguably been its defense, but the offense has also struggled too. It's just, is this team ready or good enough to repeat for a Super Bowl? I don't know. I don't know if they are. I think they should be, but I'm not so sure yet. We'll have to see what ends up happening as the season goes forth. I think Philadelphia's still fine, and they might be able to figure these things out. But if they don't, I'm kind of questioning the legitimacy of how good they'll be as a Super Bowl team if they can't figure out these critical things. And then finally, the Raiders and the Dallas Cowboys. My gosh, what an absolute mid-off this is. This is the epitome of mid. The Raiders are bad. The Cowboys aren't significantly better. This is just going to be what I'm going to call quite simply a nightmare. I don't know. This is like a bad Monday Night Football game, right? Raiders aren't going to be particularly entertaining. I wouldn't doubt if they find a way to beat the Cowboys because this is Monday Night Football and the Raiders just are desperate for a win. But this is ridiculous. This is ridiculous. It's just like, what are we doing? Why are we watching Raiders Cowboys, right? Geno Smith has been awful. The Cowboys have been good offensively, but just kind of like their offense has been great, their defense has been bad, but they're clearly not a playoff team, right? They'll probably rip the Raiders to shreds, is my guess. But I wouldn't doubt if the Raiders found a way to just win this game and make it very similar to the way they played Denver. Raiders are just confusing. I don't feel like Pete Carroll fits there at all. It's gone from bad to worse. Raiders are going to be in for yet another rebuild probably in 2026. The Philip White Shador Sanders documentary would be better and more controversial than Fahrenheit 9/11. And then Aaron Rodgers, controversial hell. I will produce that. Wow. Am I gonna meet Shador Sanders? I'm gonna have to go and I'll call him up. I'll go send a DM and say, hey Shador, want to do a docu series about we can. Hey man, I do a little for you, you do a little for me. You know, we gotta get our numbers up. Like, could you imagine? Could you imagine what could happen? Also, NFL allow prop bets. Don't sell out just like the FDA did to Big Pharma, you cowards. Aaron, I agree. Keep the NFL prop bets. NFL needs to allow the prop bets. What are we doing here? They stop allowing them? I don't understand. You know what? Okay, can I say this real quick? Hold on. I gotta do this real quick because I just think this is funny. So, I have the screen before I'm probably gonna wrap up in a second, but I thought this would be funny. On the screen of the tier maker sheet, right? I have the screen, right? Like I've shrunk it, but look, if I just go right here because I don't have ad blocker on. It's just got it, and it's on both sides too. It's on both sides. And it's like, it really... Guys, it wants to know. It really does. The internet needs to know. Classic. And it's always like, oh, dude, art. Like, that must be how insane my internet... Like, I don't know, man. I don't Google that much gay stuff. Get off my back. Get off my back, internet. Alright? You don't know me, and you ain't... You know what? I'll keep it a mystery. I'll keep you guessing. Next thing I know, it's gonna be like, are you a terrorist? You know, take this test. Find out. What? Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, it is 8:07. There's like an hour 6 left. If you have anybody playing tonight, Thursday Night Football, that you want to be playing, like if you've for some reason benched Drake May last week, I don't know why you would. Make sure you set your lineups. Aaron says, well, take the test. Don't let Big Pharma win. You know what, Aaron? We'll do a bonus episode. Maybe tomorrow I'll be on and I'll take the Am I Gay test. Maybe we'll find out. We'll find out all of the real pressing matters. What is Philip White's sexuality? Though the whole world will soon know. Thank you guys for watching. I appreciate every time you guys stick around for these. It's a good Thursday night. Good, ready for some football. I'm gonna go have some dinner. Maybe make a sandwich. Get ready for the game. Have a beer, something like that. It is Thursday night. Make sure you set your lineup for if anyone's playing. Make sure you do all that. Get your prop bets in, and that's all I have for you guys this evening. And outside of that, I'll see you guys around. I'll probably see you guys this weekend for the show. And for the Sunday show, and then we'll be back to it next week with free refill, prime time with Taft and Phil. Maybe I'll throw in some, you know what? Maybe I'll feel frisky. Maybe I'll throw in some extra stuff for the lower days just because I know I won't be here for Thanksgiving. Let me keep that in mind, by the way. I'm putting out a PSA. There will be no free refill on Thanksgiving. There might be one Wednesday. There is a small chance. I say small because I know I have to pack and travel because I know I'm going somewhere else for Thanksgiving, but there is a small chance that there is a free refill on Wednesday. There's not a guarantee, but there is a chance. That's for that on the Wednesday before Thanksgiving. Let me make that clear. But thank you guys again for watching. Do all the things. Like, share, comment, all those good things. I appreciate each and every one of you. And I'm going to go have dinner. Enjoy the rest, and enjoy your weekend. We'll see you guys on Sunday.